Good evening.
Good evening.
I want you to consider something for a moment. I want you to consider, up until this point, how many Doctor Who stories we have seen where the Doctor does not have a companion. Okay? So, in Old Who, there is famously one story where he does not have a companion, and that is the Deadly Assassin, which, I'm sure this is a piece of Sandifer-ism rather than a me-ism, is basically the season finale of the first 10 years of Doctor Who, isn't it? That's how big that story is. Then we have to whiz all the way forward to The Runaway Bride, which featured possibly the funniest woman on television by general consensus as the standing companion figure. But moreover than that, and obviously this is retconning a bit, actually set in motion a story that would run for the next, 20 odd years, wouldn't it? So, we have to put that one to one side. Then we get to Voyage of the Damned. Voyage of the Damned, I will remind you, had in it, as the companion figure, the most famous person who has ever been in Doctor Who. Yes, Baraka Falata. Thank you very much. And then we whiz forward to the next Doctor, which we've just seen, that plays with the notion of that, is it 3 Doctors, 5 Doctors, 2 Doctors, the next Doctor. And it has an actor of some stature to make that a believable concept, even though we knew it wasn't the case. And then we get to Planet of the Dead.
You kind of say, even though we knew it wasn't the case, we were still like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And the mystery was there, and the programme beautifully, certainly for the first 20, 25 minutes, set up the idea, believably, that David Morrissey could end up being the next Doctor. That was there. Anyway, then we get to Planet of the Dead. Now, listen, the reason I've set things up like this is we can't think of Planet of the Dead as being, the next special that came across, 3-4 months after the Christmas special, can we? Because that's not how we do Doctor Who when we're watching it in retrospect. But what we can say about this story is it's one of the fundamental lead-in stories to what will be DT's last hurrah, which we knew would be the case, okay? But also, there's this fact that we just don't have a companion, and therefore that's quite a unique and special situation. So what we end up with, and this is a very roundabout way of telling you why I think this story is way better than I remember, and why it isn't any better than that, okay? This story is way better than I remember because, in actual fact, it's just a good, fun Doctor Who story. We've got a bus on a flipping desert island. We finally get UNIT doing what UNIT should do, and probably for the first time since the 1970s, we actually got a unit that functioned as a sort of unit should. We had Lee Evans. Now, listen, I was never into...
Lee Evans absolutely cracked me up.
But I was never into Lee Evans. So as a personality to be in Doctor Who, it was actually sort of a negative to me. But in retrospect, having been many years away from his heyday, he actually gave a banging performance in this, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really sweet and affectionate and lovely and all that kind of thing. The female...
My kids thought it was hilarious.
And my kids thought it was hilarious. Our kids thought it was hilarious, yes. The film in Dubai was brilliant. I'm not necessarily sure they needed to go to Dubai, but...
Is that where it was filmed?
Yes, it was in Dubai. I think there were many other places they could have achieved the same effect. But by the by, a double-decker bus in the middle of a desert is a great Doctor Whoism, and I love it. And I even love the fact, Who fans, the fact that it fell off the boat or something. That's why the top got dented. It was never supposed to be dented. That was a rewrite, hasty rewrite. I'm absolutely happy with the buggy aliens, even though they're just clearly, boiler-suited masks. Fine, they're quite sweet. I wish they'd have survived, actually. I wish they'd have lasted through to the end. Unnecessary sacrifice of alien there. It would have been a much... Yeah, very much so, yeah.
We don't care about them.
Little bit xenophobic. Bring them back on the bus. Have an awkward moment, then the Doctor can shuffle them in the TARDIS. It would have been lovely. All of this is working out fun, and the menace. I like the insectoid aliens, and I like this concept. Them whizzing around the planet to open the gate, and then they go through. Brilliant! All of this is working for me, right? And of course, we've got DT doing his DT thing. Absolutely fabulous. The problem with this story is, and I hate doing this because I hate criticising.
Female lead.
I hate criticising any performer in Doctor Who. I genuinely do. But the simple fact is, Michelle Ryan, as Lady Christina Sousa Luna, whatever her name is, hasn't got the chops for this, and that I feel really bad saying it.
She's just not convincing, is she?
So, for those of you that don't know, Michelle...
She's not convincing as posh or sexy.
Oh, well, yeah, she doesn't know.
Needed Gemma Arterton.
There you go. Right, so we're going to get to this. So, for those of you that don't know, Michelle Ryan was an actress who was in EastEnders. She was one of the 4 Slater sisters. And she and this was one of the few periods of my life I watched EastEnders. If you don't know, if you're not from these shores, EastEnders is one of our 2 biggest soaps. It's the BBC big soap. It's on like 473 days a week, and it's always big at Christmas and this kind of thing. And periodically, people watch EastEnders and drop out. I watched EastEnders briefly in the period just before Doctor Who was around. Really, I suppose when I lived in shared university digs, and that was the sort of thing you did. But the Slater sisters were massive. They were like cultural phenomenons, and the youngest of them was Michelle Ryan. And the famous scene from EastEnders that she is in is where, and I will be Cat Slater. I will be Michelle Ryan, and she went, "You're not my mum." And then Cat Slater said,
"Yes, you are." Oh, sorry.
That's all right. It was good.
I'm not even listening. Sorry.
I am. Anyway, Michelle Ryan.
Yes, you are. You're not mine, yes, you are. Oh.
Michelle Ryan had just left EastEnders and was a big deal, but subsequently hasn't really done very much. She's not one of those soap actresses. Was she the Barney Woman?
Yeah,
that dived though, didn't it?
Yeah.
So my point is this: with the greatest of respect to Michelle Ryan, thank you very much. This guest role needed to have somebody massive. It really has to be somebody who... No, I think it needs to be somebody famous. And the one I'm going to, and this is purely because of Tomb Raider, is Angelina Jolie. Now, listen, I know you're not an Angelina Jolie fan, Elizabeth, but hear me out here. It needed to be somebody of a stature that could raise this episode and give it an event-type quality, all right? Because I just think it's lacking that. It's a great Doctor Who story. It would be a brilliant episode 3. Do you know what I mean? In a season of Doctor Who, you would love this. You'd go, this is fantastic. But this is a story without a companion on the run-in to DT's final hurrah. This has to belt a little bit, right? The next Doctor was a Christmas special, and it had a little twist to it, and it works. But this one just falls a little bit flat. Now, again, I really enjoyed it way more than I remembered enjoying it before. But... you know, the people on the bus are a little bit anonymous, and the policemen are a bit goonish, and unit works, but it needs that companion stand-in to be massive. And if it can't be Angelina Jolie or Gemma Arterton, who must have only been 15 when this was on, let's be honest.
I don't know.
Well, it needed to be somebody with, some movie star stature. That's what I'm going to say. It needed to be somebody who could come in and dominate almost. And, those scenes where Lady Christina is basically taking the lead, love all that, but I need somebody I can buy into. I remember when I did film studies back in at university, as part of my English literature degree, because I'm a bookie nerd, we looked at the opening to American Gigolo with Richard Gere. And our lecturer was talking about how the film was very much framing Richard Gere as the object of the gaze, male gaze, female gaze. I don't know if we were using those terminology, but it was showcasing Richard Gere as being the thing, the person, the object of our desire, the desire. It needs that sort of energy in this, and it hasn't got it, and that's sad. And I don't want to be mean to Michelle Ryan, who's gone on to do Big Finish. Iris Wildtime is watching, as a very niche reference. But it's gone on to Big Finish. Fair play, total respect. Yes, fine. But Planet of the Dead is a good episode of Doctor Who. I think really it needed to be a great episode of Doctor Who for this placement in the big getting up speed, for DT's final hoo-ha. But there we go. That's fine. Honestly, what a great time we had. I was blown away by Unit. I was blown away by the Malcolms and the Bernards and this, that and the other. I did. I said I love that threat, the metallic insecticide. I love that. Honestly, there's so much about this that's good. You see the ending again. It's got that cocky 10th Doctor thing, but to make that work, you need to have somebody who you're thinking, he needs to be, for want of a better word, blowing off flipping Meryl Streep here. He needs to be sort of saying to somebody...
Maybe someone with some riz.
Yeah, riz. There we go. That's the word. It's got to be someone with some riz, and with the best will in the world, Michelle Ryan doesn't do this role justice. Totes respect, Michelle Ryan. I hope you will. But there we go. But anyway, that's fine. That's fine. It was a really good episode of Doctor Who. Had a great old time. It just needed that extra thing, the person, to take it over the edge. Who should have played Lady Christina? Put your ideas in. No, don't do that. Okay, bye-bye.